officially to both of you. Nice to see you both. Good expression session we did there. So that will set us up nicely. Some of those themes will be covered in today's teaching and lesson. So let's dive straight into today's daily quotes to kick it off. You can, one of you can read that. That would be great. I'll just share my screen with you. Okay. So there we go. If you can, Kim, if you can read that, that'd be awesome. Thanks.
Rejection makes perception. The world you see is what you gave it, nothing more than that. But though it is no more than that, it is not less. Therefore, to you, it is important. It is the witness to your state of mind, the outside picture of an inward condition. As a man thinketh, so does he perceive. Therefore, seek not to change the world, but choose to change your mind about the world.
Yeah, amazing quote. And it's one of my favorite quotes from the course. Seek not to change the world, but choose to change your mind about the world. So we're all trying, the ego is trying to change the world. When I manipulate the world in this way and I make it into this and this, then I'll be happy. And really the course is just saying, change your mind. You know, happiness lies in changing your mind about the world. And you can do that instantly. When they say the world changes in an instant, it's because you can change your mind instantly, immediately, and then your entire perception and your experience of the world changes in a moment. And there's many people who've had spiritual awakenings who are testimony to that. You know, instantly your perception changes. You change the world in that moment. Give an example. Byron Katie, you know, she's staying in a rehab center, really addicted to codeine and alcohol, and really not in a good frame of mind, depressed, so unworthy that she's sleeping on the floor because she doesn't feel like she's worth a bed. And then this bug crawls over her, cockroach crawls over her foot, and in that moment she just has this insight of like, but actually it's the same as me. I'm not separate from the bug. And her ego kind of collapses. And in that moment, everything's changed for her, right? That moment is like her entire world's changed. And the world has changed because she then, based on that insight, that experience, she then became a spiritual teacher and went on this whole journey of being a teacher and healer and has helped many, many people. So instantly, in that moment of her perception changing, the world changed. But because she fundamentally changed her mind about the world. So the world, because the world we perceive as outside ourselves is a projection of our own subconscious minds. It's really just a mirror that shows us what's in the subconscious or unconscious mind, of which we're mostly unaware. Well, understanding this truth is going to accelerate our spiritual awakening enormously because it empowers us to look within and make the darkness conscious, as Carl Jung advises us to do in these two quotes that I've shared with you before. So Elaine, if you can read that first one about vision only.
Your vision will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. Who looks outside dreams. Who looks inside awakes. Carl Jung.
Yeah, amazing quote from a psychotherapist. Carl Jung was arguably the most enlightened psychotherapist there's ever been because he understood that it's an inner journey. And he went beyond the mind. Freud was very mind-oriented. He went into the heart. You know, the language of the heart is talking about, well, what are you feeling down here, you know, in your heart chakra? What more than thinking? And who looks outside dreams? That's the projection of the ego. Who looks inside awakens, and you start awakening through that path of going inward to who you really are, to the awareness that was always there but just buried underneath all of the thoughts and emotions that the ego produces, to cover it over, right? All that this world is designed to do is to trigger those thoughts and emotions, to cover over the pure formless awareness of perfect love that you really are. And then another quote that I've also shared before as one of the daily quotes. So Kim, if you can read that.
People will do anything, no matter how absurd, in order to avoid facing their own souls. One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious.
And the image, I chose that because there's this guy. This is actually a drag. It was a drag queen who's dressing himself up, making himself, painting his face. And if you really look at it, it's bizarre and it's absurd. Why would you do that? If you're just soul, if you're just spirit, why would you bother with all of that? You know, creating a new identity, painting yourself. I mean, as he said, people do anything, no matter how absurd, in order to avoid facing their own souls. Because we don't want to make the darkness conscious. But once we've made the darkness or the blocks to the awareness of love's presence, as Yeshua calls in introduction to the ACIM text, conscious, we can then choose to let them go. So let's have a quick look at going back to the very beginning of the course. Elaine, if you can read the first paragraph, and then Kim the second one.
This is a course in miracles. It is a required course. Only the time you take is voluntary. Free will does not mean that you can establish the curriculum. It means only that you can elect what you want to take at a given time. The course does not aim at teaching the meaning of love, for that is beyond what can be taught. It does aim, however, at removing the blocks to the awareness of love's presence, which is your natural inheritance. The opposite of love is fear, but what is all-encompassing can have no opposite. And this course can therefore be summed up very simply in this way: nothing real can be threatened, nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God.
Yeah, it's a brilliant introduction, really. It's so brief, but you know, in this is the very essence of the teaching. This is the summary of the text. Nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. And if you can just remember that in the situations that trigger you and test you, then you will forgive, because nothing unreal exists. And what is real within me cannot be threatened by this in any way. And so I can still be at peace. I can still find the peace of God. Of course, it's much easier said than done, because remembering that nothing unreal exists when it's staring you in the face and triggering you with all kinds of thoughts and emotions coming up that seem to be really real. You know, this is the test. But those are the blocks to the awareness of love's presence that you must look at in order to let them go. You cannot, as Carl Jung says brilliantly, you cannot escape from the darkness unless you make it conscious. Do not become enlightened by imagining figures of light. So he's almost having a dig at a lot of spiritual paths and teachings. You know, I'm a light worker and I've got my angels and my guides and, you know, all of that kind of stuff. And there's a lot of that goes around in spirituality. But really the true path to God is go and look at your darkness. Go within, have courage to really look at your ego, bring it up, go through the difficulty and let it go and forgive it. And then by definition, when you do that, you know, you're going to the light. You're opening yourself up to your true awareness, pure formless awareness of perfect love. And those thoughts, those corrected thoughts, are then the angels and the guides that help you. The Holy Spirit becomes the agent then of your awakening. So rather than imagining these figures of light, oh, I've got the angels and the guides and they're somehow outside of me. No, it's just my own letting go that's going to do this. My own courage to make the darkness conscious and then to let it go. So Yeshua calls this darkness the ego, but regardless of what you call it, your spiritual task is to let the darkness or the blocks to the awareness of love's presence go. To change your perception this way, you must also change your core beliefs about yourself, which is your limited self-concept or ego, because your perceptions are a result of the emotions, thoughts, and beliefs the self-concept produces. Okay? So if you look at this diagram from the Instrument for Peace worksheet that was given to David Hoffmeister by Yeshua, it's a really good explanation of how the mind works, which I've only actually ever seen in this diagram. There's obviously many psychological models and so on, but this is the clearest structure of the psyche that I've seen, because it came directly from a master teacher, Jesus. So you have perception at the very outer fringe, and that's where most people get stuck. For them, their perception is reality. The Course is saying, no, dig it a level deeper, and you'll find emotion that underlies perception. So you were very aware of that today, Elaine, in your difficulty. A lot of emotion coming. You had a perception, oh, okay, this isn't right. I've been doing everything to get my foot right, and now I've been told that it's still going to take another 2 months because I've got a fracture. Your perception then triggers all these emotions to come out of the deeper level, and then you feel really sad and frustrated and angry and so on. And then underneath that is a thought system, right? The thought system says that the world is real, that perception is real, that what's going on outside of you is real, therefore the emotions are real, therefore the thoughts are, when is this ever going to happen? It's going to be really difficult to get through this next 8 weeks. I'm so depressed, life is really unfair. Why did this happen to me? And so on and so on. It's all a thought system that underpins the emotions and the perceptions. And then you go dig a level deeper. There's a belief then, and you highlighted it. You said, I feel like I'm a victim of the world. So there's a belief that I'm a victim rather than the Son of God, rather than the awakened being that I really am. And that victim identity then creates the thought system, then creates the emotions, then creates the perceptions. They all stack up on top of that. And at the very core of it, if you want to believe all that and be a victim, your desire is to be a separate self. Because the victim makes you separate from other people. You now have justification for your grievances. It also separates you from your source. So if you want to believe that, then you're saying, I choose to be separate. I want to be a separate self. I want to reinforce that. Or you can, the prayer of the heart is to say, no, I don't want that anymore. I want peace and love and joy and healing in my life. And so I have to choose not to be separate, i.e. I have to choose not to be the victim. So I have to question and undo that belief. And if I'm not the victim, then my thought system changes. I'm not the victim of the world I see. I'm spirit. I'm free. I'm not a body. I'm free. So my thought system changes. My emotions then naturally change. If I'm free and I'm only spirit, then none of this really needs to affect me. I can be peaceful and happy irrespective. And my perception of the situation changes. Instead of thinking, well, this is terrible, and why is this happening to me, and it's so unfair, and I'm now I can't move for another 8 weeks. You go, oh, well, actually, this is quite a good lesson. This is a chance to really look at my ego in a way maybe that I haven't before, to undo it and further my spiritual awakening. So your perception of the whole situation changes because you changed your fundamental desire, your belief system, your thought system, the emotions, and then that naturally changes the perception, because perception will come out of the thought system and the emotion. What is perception but a bunch of thoughts and emotions? But now it's inside out. You see how you've changed it. Instead of saying, outside in, the outside world is triggering me, and now my perception then leads to the emotion, then leads to the thought, reinforcing the belief that I already believed and the desire to be separate. You turn it around, you say, no, I change my mind, I change my desire, and then I change my belief, thought, emotion, and perception. So inside out transformational healing, which is what the course is teaching us. Okay, is that clear? Is it understandable?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any comments or questions about that? So that process of changing your mind at the fundamental level of desire is what Yeshua calls a miracle. So when you go there and you dig through all these layers and you say, I choose the Holy Spirit, I choose to be one instead of separate, I choose to let go of separation, as you've done today, that is a miracle. And sometimes that ripples all the way up and you change your perception, and you'll always change your perception, and then something changes. In your case, someone is going to come and help you. So you got the miracle on that level because you've changed your mind on a deeper level. And sometimes those miracles just help you to do that, right? You get something on a perceptual level which helps facilitate this change of mind. And that's that we call grace. There is a whole worksheet, so if you want to work through this, I can recommend it. Instrument for Peace, diagram, written exercise. It might be quite useful, Elaine, to work through this with this particular issue and go through A, B, C, D, E, and then it fills in the blanks and you read the worksheet accordingly. And it's a process that it takes you through of letting go of that expectation we talked about.
Yeah.
Getting to the root of the problem, which is the expectation or the desire at the very core of it, which is a desire to be a separate self. Still, if you can identify that through this, there's the healing. Okay, well, I could choose not to be a separate self. I can choose again. So if you need any help with that, and you want to do one-on-one, let me know. Or you've got the sheet, you can easily do it yourself, and you've got the time to do that.
Yeah, I've got 8 weeks.
You've got 8 weeks, exactly, to do a lot of introspection, inquiry, healing. That's really what it's for.
Yeah.
So this process of changing your mind, fundamental level of desire, is what he calls a miracle. And usually some miraculous effects on the level of behavior and form outcomes, because our beliefs create our perceptions or experience of so-called reality in this world. And then these are reflected back to us through our perceptions, exactly what today's quote is saying. Projection makes perception. Right, so you change your perception fundamentally by changing your mind about who you want to be, and then that must reflect in the world, because your mind has changed, and so the world, being a projection of your mind, then changes, and these changes are then reflected back to us through our perceptions that confirm to us that these beliefs are true. And this diagram, integral model, which Ken Wilber came up, shows it very well. So normally we have egoic misperceptions about something that happens in the objective world. So something happens to our body in this case, and you get triggered, and then that takes you into a negative emotional state, various thoughts, and the ego is telling you, well, I'm feeling down because of my body. But that's not really true. That was just the trigger for those thoughts and emotions to now arise. They were already there. It just triggered them. So now we're turning it around. Instead of saying it's outside in, I'm negatively affected by the outside world, I'm going to let go of those negative thoughts and emotions. I'm going to find a state of love and peace and joy in my mind. And that subjective state is going to change my perception. Perception still exists here because it's a mental state. It's going to change my perception now of the external situation. And what I've done, if you look at these contour lines, I've effectively raised myself up several levels. Instead of being at the body level or the mind level, I've raised myself up into soul or even spirit, and I'm now perceiving the situation and my body and what was previously a disaster, I'm perceiving it very differently. And I've just spiritually raised myself up several levels in this. So instead of being down here, really in a very low state as you were, suddenly you feel much more happy, confident, peaceful, expanded, because you've managed to go up, and the situation hasn't changed.
No.
You've changed.
Yes.
That's the interesting thing about this. That's why it's so powerful. You've changed. You just changed your mind.
In this moment, yes.
In this moment, you changed your mind, and then your experience changes pretty dramatically. If you compare how you're feeling now to how you were feeling this afternoon,
Oh yeah, yeah.
very, very different state of mind. But the situation hasn't changed. You're still gonna
still got
be.
the
You've still got
injury.
You've still got the injury. You've still got 8 weeks to go. So nothing's changed in objective reality, but you've changed your subjective interpretation of that reality.
Yeah.
And that's the absolute key to this. You just change your mind about the world, and you change your experience of the world. You just change your perception of it.
Yeah.
And if reality is really just perceptual, then you've changed the world. Reality is perception. Reality doesn't exist in some objective form. There is no reality in the absence of observation, i.e., of perception. Without perception, there's no reality in this world. So you've just changed reality by changing your mind. It's so powerful. And you can do that in a moment. Hey, I can just change my mind. And so now I'm coming from the inside out, and I'm reinterpreting the situation according to a thought system that I've consciously chosen, one that's actually going to work, rather than the ego trying to con me essentially into believing in its thought system by giving me the apparent trigger of the situation. So clear, right? When you see outside in or inside out, those are the choices. It's got to be one or the other. You're either going to live your life outside in, or you're going to live your life inside out. And in every moment, those are the choices. This is the Holy Spirit and its interpretation of the world and life, and this is the ego's interpretation of the world and life. So which do you choose? And it's a stark contrast. You can't choose both. It's either outside in or it's inside out. You can't be both. Oh, it's a little bit of outside in, it's a little bit of inside out. No, it's one or the other, because they contradict each other. If it's outside in, you are a victim of the world. If it's inside out, then you can choose your thought system. You can choose your emotions. You can choose how you want to be in the world. And then that is going to change your perception of the world. It's going to change your experience of the world. So it's much more empowering because you have a choice. With this, you don't have a choice. You just react to external circumstances. So by definition, you're a victim of the world.
Yeah, that's what I felt like this afternoon, that's for sure.
Yeah. And so what a great lesson in
it is.
Experiential lesson of like, okay, you were outside in and you felt like a victim and you felt really low and you were down here somewhere. You change your mind. The situation hasn't changed at all. Just change your mind in the last few hours, and now you're up here.
Yeah.
But the objective reality of your body and the situation hasn't changed at all. The only thing that's changed is your mind.
The only thing is the body takes a little longer to change its mind. You might still have that tight shoulder or.
Yeah, but the body doesn't really have a mind. The body just has sensations that it reports. So it's your interpretation of those. So yeah, the body is what it is. You've still got the condition.
It takes a little longer to sort of, yes.
Yeah, the injury hasn't changed in a few hours, but
No.
you've changed your mind. So you're okay with it.
I meant sort of, if you've had yourself all stressed, the body gets itself all tight and what have you. So even though I've changed my mind, the shoulders are still a little bit sort of, So it does, the body follows on, but it takes a little longer to.
Yeah, it can do. So then, you just need to keep in this new state of mind, maybe do some meditation, some relaxation techniques, some massage, about
stretching
massage.
And stuff,
Stretching, massaging, all of that can help. It facilitates the letting go process. But the
Yeah.
primary foundational thing is you've got to change your mind.
Oh, yes. Oh,
And
no,
stay there. You know, the ego is always going to try and pull you back by saying, but look at the external world. It's really, you know, threatening and fearful. And so, you know, this is these emotions of fear and so on are justified. And it's just not true. That's just a setup to convince you of the ego's thought system. Ingenious. I mean, if you were going to be an ego and you want to convince you a separate self, wouldn't you do this? This is exactly how you would go about convincing the mind that this is the case. You create an external world with all these seeming people outside of you and circumstances, events beyond your control and a body. And then, you know, all of this is going to trigger you. And now apparently you're at the mercy of the world and you're a victim of the world. And now all the negative thoughts and emotions aren't your fault. They're the world's fault. And someone else has done it to you. The world's done it to you, which then justifies them and keeps them intact. I mean, brilliant, evil genius. Like, okay, that's going to keep your mind in this victim identity all continuously until you change the paradigm, until you say, no, I've got to flip it around. It's not inside out. It's not outside in, it's inside out. I have to start living my life inside out and changing my mind, and then my experience and my reality will change. And that is really the essence of any spiritual path. When you flip from outside in to inside out, you're now on a spiritual path, you're awakening, and you might still vacillate, but as long as you keep defaulting to this, you keep going back into inside out, you're fine. And the ego fights its corner, and the more it does that, the more you get your opportunity to change your mind to inside out. You see, so that's the benefit of this. Okay, great lesson in changing your mind, inside, making it inside out rather than outside in, which is what letting go of forgiveness does. Which then reconnects you with your true I, the great I am that you are. And that's, you know, the more you do that, the more you connect with that source, the more you know that that is who you are and that you are not the body and you're not subject to all of these vagaries of time and space, the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, as Shakespeare put it so well. So if you want to dive a bit deeper into integral model, I've given you a video. It's a 35-minute talk. Highly recommend it. Really, yeah, the integral model is just another tool in the toolbox, but it helps you to make these connections, helps you to understand how the internal and the external are connected, and that's how the miracle works. The miracle is all about that connection between internal and external. You've got to sever the connection from objective. This way, you've got to sever it. You have to say, I'm not affected by the world. So the objective world can't affect my subjective experience. You've got to cut that cord, and you've got to say, you know, I change my mind. I find this inner inspiration, and I then allow that to inform my objective reality. So my body follows my behavior. This is the quadrant of behavior as well. My behavior follows because I've changed my mind fundamentally about who I am. Really, really simple, but really, you know, profound. So encourage you to, you know, you've got the time, Elaine. Watch the video. You've got the time to really dive into this program very, very deeply, and you know, really immerse yourself in it. And we're going to be starting the Art of Letting Go course again in March. So you know, you'll still have you know, some of that time will you'll still be recovering. So it's all good. It's all you know, meant for your highest good. Okay. So any thoughts, comments, or questions on any of this? Hopefully these different models that I've used today just help you to see how it all fits together. You know, this is a very comprehensive, complete psychological system that Yeshua is proposing. The models just help me explain it better, but it is the truth. You know, you can't, if you look at all these models and you reconcile them with the course, you can see how it does. You can see how the teachings of the course really fit into, you know, what these models are saying, both the integral model and this instrument for peace model of the psyche. Really, I call it. I don't know if there's a name for it, but It's the levels of mind. I think it's called actually the levels of mind diagram. Okay, so shall we dive into our lesson then? Let's do that. So I'm just going to get rid of that. Start Audacity. Okay, so here we are. We're going to have a look at today's lesson and the insert on what is creation. So let's just read it. We'll speed it up. It's 5 paragraphs. So let's read that in the alternative. So this is talking about creation. Actually, it might be for the first couple. It might be quite useful to read both. Creation is the sum of all God's thoughts, because the interpretation I think is quite interesting in the alternative. So yeah, Clem, if you want to read, if you can read the original, Elaine read the alternative, sentence by sentence.
Creation is the sum of all God's thoughts in a number infinite and everywhere without all limit.
Creation is the extension of perfect love, loving awareness, infinite and everywhere without any limit.
Only love creates and only like itself.
Only perfect love extends only like itself.
There was no time when all that it created was not there.
There was no time when all that it extends was not there.
Nor will it be a time when anything that it created suffers any loss.
Nor will there be a time when anything that it extends suffers any loss.
Forever and forever are God's thoughts exactly as they were and as they are.
Perfect love's awareness is eternally the same, unchanged throughout time and after time has ended. And from the top.
Yeah.
Go sneeze. Oh, excuse me.
I think Elaine, just I want to speed things up because I'm aware of the time. So
yeah.
So just give your commentary on it without reading it again.
I was just talking about how only perfect love extends like itself, and there's no time, there's no loss. The awareness is eternal and unchanged, and it's never a time. It's throughout time and after time has ended. It's always there. It's infinite everywhere and without any limits.
Yeah, I mean, the idea of the sum of all God's thoughts, I mean, this isn't really how God's thoughts work, which is why I've translated it to perfect loving awareness. It's a simple awareness that's always there, that's unchanged. And that's our awareness, and it's everyone's true awareness. So it naturally extends to everyone. We call it extension. It's not like it's actually increasing or going out, or, we use the language because we're in a time-space construct, but actually it's just the fundamental reality of everyone and everything that's always been there, and it always will be there. So the spirit extends to everyone all the time. Fundamental awareness, pure formless awareness, extends all the time to everyone, which gives everything and everyone its fundamental existence. And that is creation. So creation is that fundamental being, in a way, is the being that you are. Creation is just the awareness that you are in truth, and which cannot be destroyed, cannot be changed, cannot be broken, cannot be undone, can just be covered over. So just another term to describe the same thing, right? So what he's doing, all of these terms are just pointers. It's just pointing us to the same thing over and over again. Okay. So God's thoughts. I want to switch it. So Elaine, you read it.
God's thoughts are given all the power that their own creator has.
Perfect love's awareness is given all the power that its own source has.
For he would add to love by its extension.
For it adds to love by its extension.
Thus his Son shares his creation and must therefore share in power to create.
And so its extension shares in this extension and must therefore share in the love to extend.
The power to extend.
The power to extend.
What God has willed to be forever one will still be one when time is over, and will not be changed throughout the course of time, remaining as it was before the thought of time began.
What pure formless awareness of perfect love intends to be forever, one will still be one when time is over, and will not be changed throughout the course of time, remaining as it was before the thoughts of time began.
So just reiterating really what he said before, and this idea of we have the same power as our source. So that's the same one awareness. We add to love. Again, there's some sort of license here that's used with the language. You can't really add to something that's infinite and eternal. But from a level 2 perspective, in time-space, it can seem like that you add to love by its extension. So when you extend love and you're loving and you're kind, there's a sense, okay, well, I'm expanding, I'm adding to love by its extension. That's how it feels. So that's what he's speaking to. But in reality, you're just becoming who you are. You're just remembering who you are, who you always were. And so it feels like an expansion or an addition, but it's just a return to your fundamental nature, which has always been the same. Does that make sense? And that's why he uses the language, because it matches our experience of it, even though it's not ultimately true. Because you can't add to love if it's infinite, right? Infinity is infinity. So how do you add to infinity? It's not possible. But from our perspective in the dream, it feels like that, which is why he uses the language to help us to do it, to make them. And then eventually we get to the point where we're like, okay, that is really just, you don't really add to love. Love just is, right? Love is, and I am that love. And these ideas don't serve you anymore. They fade away. But until then, they're useful because they take you in the right direction. They're like signposts on a journey. Right? The signposts are really useful while you're on the journey and you're still journeying, but the signposts are useless once you get to the destination. You don't need the signposts anymore, right? Once you really experience, that love is all there is and it's infinite and eternal, you don't need a signpost that's saying it adds to love by its extension. You don't need words anymore. But we're still at the point where we need the pointers or the signposts on the journey. Okay, makes sense? Let's go to number 3 then. Switch it again.
Creation is the opposite. Creation is the opposite of all illusions, for creation is the truth.
Extension is the opposite of all illusions, for extension is the truth.
Creation is the holy Son of God, for creation is his will, complete in every aspect, making every part container of the whole.
Extension is the pure extension of perfect love, for in extension its awareness is complete in every aspect, making every part container of the whole.
Its oneness is forever guaranteed, inviolate, forever held in his holy will, beyond all possibility of harm, of separation, imperfection, and of any spot upon its sinlessness.
Its oneness is forever guaranteed to be perfect, and externally held within pure formless awareness, beyond all possibility of harm, separation, imperfection, and any blemish on its innocence. So it's just saying that the extensions are the opposite of all these illusions. The extension is pure, perfect love. Awareness is complete in every aspect, containing the whole. So oneness is forever guaranteed to be perfect, eternal, and beyond all possibility of harm, separation, and any blemish on its innocence.
So just reiterating, the absolute perfection of this. It cannot be blemished. It cannot be damaged. It's forever guaranteed, irrespective of what's going on in the world. That's why you have to ignore all the appearances, because these apparently show you that it has been blemished, that it has been damaged. Harm, separation, imperfection, and any blemish are the illusions of the ego designed to cover over this perfection. So if you understand this perfection, you know who you are. And the ego doesn't want you to know who you are. Okay? Let's go on to number 4 then. It's moving quite quickly because I'm aware of the time.
We are creation, we the sons of God.
As the extensions of perfect love, we are extension.
We seem to be discreet and unaware of our eternal unity with Him.
We seem to be separate and unaware of our eternal unity with perfect love.
Yet back of all of our doubts, past all our fears, there still is certainty.
Yet behind all our doubts and past all our fears, there is still certainty.
For love remains with all its thoughts, its sureness, the being theirs.
For love remains with all its thoughts, its sureness being theirs.
God's memory is in our holy minds, which know their oneness and their unity and their Creator.
Perfect love's memory is in our, for love remains with all its thoughts, its sureness being theirs.
Let our function be only to let the memory return, only to let God's will be done on earth, only to be restored to sanity, and to be put as God created us.
Just read 5 and 6, Kim. You skipped 5.
Yeah.
Oh, did I?
Perfect love's.
No, Kim did.
Oh.
Yeah. Perfect love's memory is in our pure minds, which know their oneness and their unity with their source. Let our function be only to let this memory return, only to let perfect love's awareness come to everyone, only to be restored to sanity, and to be only as perfect loving awareness extends us. So it's saying if we're not aware or don't realize that we think that we're separate from oneness or pure formless awareness of perfect love. But in actual fact, we are one, and it's behind the veil of doubts and fears. So we think it's uncertainty, but in actual fact, it is certain, it's one, and it's eternal. So our function is to let go and return to this memory that we are eternal and one with pure formless awareness.
And in that lies surety, certainty. You can't, if you know that, you can't fear. All the uncertainty of the world evaporates in the sureness of this presence. Okay, this is the one thing I can rely on. There is always going to be this awareness. That's why it's called Father or Source. Our Father. It's the one awareness that is never going to go away. That's always going to be there. No matter what changes on the level of form in the world, there will always be this awareness, because it's the foundation of being. It's the foundation of all life. So that's why it's called Father or Source. Okay. Happy to go to number 5.
Our Father calls to us.
Our source calls to me.
We hear his voice and we forgive creation in the name of its creator.
I hear its voice and let
You
go of
didn't
all.
finish the sentence. Okay. The name of its creator carries on. Holiness itself.
Holiness itself, whose holiness his own creation shares, whose holiness is still a part of us.
Yeah, Elaine, your turn.
Yeah, I hear its voice and let go of all blocks to the extension in the name of its source, pure formless awareness, perfect love itself, whose perfect loving awareness is its own extension, shares, and whose perfect loving awareness is still a part of me and everyone. So it's just saying that, the source is calling to us, and if we can hear the voice and let go of all the blocks to this, then we're, in this oneness of pure formless awareness, of perfect love. And we are all one, and every one of us are part of this.
Yeah. A very lovely message, which we just have to remember when we're being tested. Because the ego makes it seem like it's not so. That this isn't the case. It pulls out all the stops to convince you of that. So the world being the convincing act, being the projection of the idea of separation. It's designed to convince you that the idea that gave it birth is true. Do you see how it works? Projection makes perception. So no wonder we struggle, because the idea that gave birth to the world is constantly being reinforced by the world until we decide consciously to change our mind, saying, okay, I'm not going to buy that anymore. It's a setup, it's a trap, it's a program, and I can change my mind, and that's when you start spiritually awakening. Okay, so yeah, just more of the same lesson. All of these really are pointing us in the same direction. You see that? Whether he approaches it from the perspective of creation or the last judgment or the miracle, in the end, it just gives you a different perspective on the truth. All right, let's just read the key message. Skip this and then go straight into the lesson. So, Kim, if you can read that key message for us.
Eternal extension of perfect love, forever unchanging and unified with it. Although I may perceive separation, perfect love's memory remains in my pure mind. My purpose is to let go of my blocks to the awareness of love, extend love unconditionally to everyone, and remember that I am one with pure formless awareness of perfect love.
Yeah, it's really simple, but it makes it explicit, and it's saying this is what you do about it. Your job is to just stay in this awareness. Keep reminding yourself that your job is to be this awareness of love and allow it to extend through you, and if you do that, then it's going to change your thoughts, your words, your actions, and you become a much more loving, kinder person. But it's inside out. You're not going, I need to change my behavior to be a more loving person. It's coming from a change of mind. Okay, so related to today's quote is the lesson. Let's jump into that, shall we? So this one is lesson 325. Lesson 325. All things I think I see reflect ideas. So yeah, if you can read the original, Kim, and then Elaine read the alternative.
All things I think I see reflect ideas.
Everything I think, see, reflects ideas.
Yeah, quite a profound statement, really. Everything I think I see in this world reflects an idea. Wow. Okay, so everything is really just an idea, but it's now projected out and it seems to have a form. So the world is an idea that has taken apparent form and now seems to exist outside of me. But actually, it's just a projection of my own ideas, which are within my mind. Very, very profound teaching, because you understand this, you start understanding the nature of the world and of the true reality that it masks, that it covers over. But how many people understand this? Okay, everything's just an idea. Interestingly, quantum mechanics says the same thing. So the universe, this was a guy called James Jeans. I'll just find the quote for you. Just read that. One of you.
The stream of knowledge is heading towards a non-mechanical reality. The universe begins to look more like a great thought than like a great machine. Mind no longer appears to be accidental intruder into the realm of matter. We ought rather hail it as a creator and governor of the realm of matter.
Saying exactly the same thing. This was a guy called James Jeans who really popularized quantum mechanics in the 20s and 30s. He wrote a book, and this is a quote from that book. Can't remember the name of the book, but really a fundamental shift in how we view reality compared with the Newtonian view of the world exists as some kind of objective reality outside of us. This is saying, no, this is pointing us to the idea that the universe is a thought, i.e. everything is an idea, everything's a thought, it's a projection of thought, exactly what Jesus is teaching us in the Course. And this was a scientist who said this. It's the creator and the governor of the realm of matter. So the world is a thought, which then gives you control over it. If it's all in thought based, then I change my mind and I change the projection of mind, i.e. the external reality, which is now the foundation of the law of attraction and so on. But those are just symptoms or effects of this deeper understanding. Okay. So great quote, and you see how spirituality and science start to dovetail, particularly with quantum mechanics. You know, a complete reinterpretation of the previous scientific paradigm of Newtonian physics. That's in alignment with these great spiritual teachings. So not saying anything different, just a different way of getting to the same answer. All right, so let's read paragraph 1. There's only 2 paragraphs, so and a couple of little slides to read. This is Salvation's keynote. Who's reading paragraph 1?
Yeah. This is Salvation's keynote. What I see reflects a process in my mind, which starts with my idea of what I want.
This is Awakening's keynote. What I perceive reflects a process in my mind, which starts with my idea of what I want.
From there, the mind makes up an image of the thing the mind desires, judges valuable, and therefore seeks to find.
From there, my mind makes up an image of the thing my mind desires, judges valuable, and therefore looks for.
These images are then projected outward, looked upon, esteemed as real, and guarded as one's own.
I then project these images outward, perceive them and judge them as real.
From insane wishes comes an insane world.
From insane wishes comes an insane world.
From judgment comes a world condemned.
From judgment comes a world condemned.
And from forgiving thoughts, a gentle world comes forth. with mercy for the Holy Son of God, to offer him a kindly home where he can rest a while before he journeys on, and help his brothers walk ahead with him and find their way to heaven and to God.
And from thoughts of letting go comes a gentle will with unconditional love for the innocent extension of perfect love, to offer me a kind home where I can rest a while before I journey on and help my companions go with me and find the way to pure formless awareness of perfect love.
Yeah, so thoughts on that?
So it comes back to perception. It starts with the mind and perceiving what I want. So if it's, whether it's desires or fears, that it starts with us, and then we project these outwards. Then whatever we project, we judge them as real. If it's insane, then we perceive an insane world. If it's letting go and forgiveness, we perceive a gentle world with unconditional love for us and our companions. So if that's what we perceive, it's it's something that's peaceful and kind. It also brings us to more oneness with our companions, to our source.
Exactly. So another lesson in perception, judgment, and encouraging us to let go of it. From thoughts of letting go, from forgiving thoughts. A gentle world comes with. You go, okay, it really isn't that bad because it's not real. So this isn't ultimate reality. I'm not really bound by this. It's just a temporary experience that ultimately I'll transcend. So whatever goes on here, it's not that bad. But if you think this is ultimate reality and this is all there is, that's a very, very dark place to be. You're caught in a trap, and there seems to be no escape. Because you will age, you will suffer, you will die. It's kind of a given. So he's saying this is awakening's key idea. Just understand that you're projecting all of this. This is all in your mind, and the world is a projection of your mind. Starts with my idea of what I want, desire, right? Going back to what the Buddha said, everything's about my desire and my expectation. I want to be a separate self. We go back to this diagram. Starts with desire, right? I want to be a separate self, or I choose to be one self. Choose to be who I am, or I choose to be a false self. That's the desire or prayer of the heart, which then affects everything else. From that point, then the whole construct of the psyche and the world unfolds. So the world is really just a projection of all of this. It's internal to us, and now it's done on both an individual and a collective level. So the we, the society, the culture that we live in, then creates the world, the systems, the networks, all the stuff that seems to be fixed and unchangeable. But it's all a projection of thought. It's based on a thought system, which has now become entrenched in these systems. And because they seem to be so much, part of our life and so immovable, we think that this is reality. But actually, they're just expressions of thought. But that thought has gone on and on and on for a long, long time to create, these structures that seem to be now very rigid. Okay, so let's have a look at the six step process of seeing, and then how that.
Jono, sorry, it's getting very late. Is it okay if we just do the last paragraph? Sorry.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
not very long. How about just read that 6-step process of seeing with vision? Let's just do that. So we skip it entirely. So what he's saying, I'll summarize it for you, is I want to see the proof of my sinlessness. I choose another idea about who I am. I create an image of myself as holy. That's the Christ, the true self. I now see people as holy and wanting to bless me, not attack me. So I project that out and I see kindness. I look upon what began only as an idea and I now see it reflected in the world. And then I go, okay, I see that is actually a reflection of reality. This is reality showing itself to me. And now I guard these. The Holy Spirit helps me to protect this perception. And these are the miracles and the signs and symbols of awakening in the world that I cherish and I value them because I know that they are pointing me in the right direction, pointing me out of the world. And so that's how it all changes. And then there's just a final prayer. Okay.
Our Father, your ideas reflect the truth, and mine apart from yours, but make up dreams.
My source, your ideas reflect the truth, and mine apart from yours only make up dreams.
Let me behold what is only yours reflect, for yours and yours alone establish truth.
I choose to perceive only what yours reflects, for yours and yours alone establish truth.
Right, and so that's the process of forgiveness. That's what this 6-step process is saying. I'm choosing from a different self, I'm choosing to perceive a different world. And instead of perceiving it as in such a dark way, because I'm seeing the projections of the ego, I'm seeing the extensions of spirit everywhere. And that is a choice that I can always make. Not always an easy choice. It's not an easy choice, especially when you're being tested by the ego, but it's always there. So for instance, today, Elaine, you had the one perception of, okay, I'm feeling really, really disappointed and I'm feeling really imprisoned by my body. And then along comes a miracle of, someone who's there to help you. Now that image, still an image, it's still an illusion, but that is a reflection of the truth. And so you value that and you accept it as what it is. It's a miracle showing you that there is another way, that there is a deeper reality and another thought system. And that's exactly what happened to help you change your mind and restore it to the right-minded perception or vision. Okay, so all things I think I see, maybe just read that to wrap it up. And then if you want to do a meditation, I'm happy to do one, or you can both end it here, up to you. So Elaine, if you can read that, and then Kim, you read the last little bit.
All things I think I see reflect ideas, and from forgiving thoughts a gentle world comes forth, with mercy for the Holy Son of God, to offer him kindly home where he can rest while before he journeys on, and help his brothers walk ahead him and find the way to heaven and to God.
And there you see, I love these images, because that light shining in everyone's face is exactly what you're asked to see. It's just obviously symbolized here, in an image, but you're asked to perceive the holiness, the purity in everyone that you encounter. And that's a choice that you can make today and every day. And then that's reinforced in the prayer. So Kim, if you can read that.
Our Father, your ideas reflect the truth, and mine apart from yours, but make up dreams. Let me behold what only yours reflect, for yours and yours alone establish truth.
So it's a conscious choice of what you're going to perceive, how you're going to perceive the world and people. That's what this is saying. And it's so powerful, so profound, and yet it's difficult to do because the ego is dead set against it and saying, no, you will perceive the world as I show you to perceive it. I'm going to show you all these, all the negativity and all the triggers, and then I want you to react and judge it accordingly. And we have to say, no, I'm not falling for that. I'm going to let it go, and I'm going to change my mind, and I'm going to perceive this differently. I'm going to see the holiness and see the light shining in everyone. Amazing choice to make, really. It completely undoes everything we've been conditioned to believe until that point, which is why
Yeah.
it's difficult. But it's a pretty radical choice to make in a world, you know, that is so negative, to do this. But you know, that's the only choice we can make, because otherwise you're just bound up in the cycle of thought system of judgment and fear and attack, and it's hell. You know, the darkness of the ego's images. You want to see proof of your sin, you create an image of yourself as a sinful person, then you see that people are out to get you and attack you, to punish you, and then you what began just as an idea is now seen as real, and now it seemingly has real effects, and people are out to get you, and then you become a victim of the world, and you protect that identity. You go, oh, you know, it's so terrible, and everyone's out to get me, and this has happened, and that becomes part of your identity. Crazy, but that is exactly how the ego works.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a false process. So this is helping us dissect that and go, okay, this is what the ego is doing. So turn it around and use that process positively now. It starts with an idea. It starts with a change of mind about who you are, right? Going back, come full circle. If you look at this, it starts with that idea. Or do you desire to be separate self, or is your prayer to be oneself, to be the Christ? That's the idea that then changes everything. Okay, so you can see how it all, the course really connects in with all of these diagrams, and the diagrams just sort of illustrate what it's saying. Hopefully that's been helpful for you.
Yes.
All right, so we can leave it there if you want, or I'm happy to guide you through a meditation for 10 minutes, 15 minutes. If you
Well,
want to
I'm going
close
to
the session
close.
off like that.
Yeah, I'm closing down now.
Me too.
Yeah. Okay.
So thank you.
So,
Namaste.
Yeah,
no problem.
namaste. Thank you, everyone.
Okay,
All
Good
right.
night.
So
namaste. Okay.
next week, while we're
Mhm.
both here, do we want to
Mhm.
just when's good? Is Wednesday's quite good for me generally. So should we do Wednesday next week?
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
anytime. Yeah,
Yeah. Same time
good.
next week. Okay.
Perfect.
All right.
Okay. Namaste.
Okay,
Namaste.
namaste.
Thanks,
Bye.
Kim.
Bye.
All right.
Bye.
Sleep well. Sleep well, Elaine.
Thanks. Good night. Bye.
Bye. Okay. So that is a wrap for today. Thank you for joining on the live stream, or maybe you watch this on a recording. If you'd like to dive a bit deeper, why not hit the subscribe button? I publish these once a week, and that's going to increase. In March, we're starting a new course, the Art of Letting Go course for 6 weeks, which is an introduction to the 1-year Art of Letting Go program. If you want to know more about that, go to lifepool.com, sign up to my Telegram group, and I will then tell you all about it and invite you to a masterclass that I am going to be giving later this month, 29th of January 2026. So head over to lifepool.com. You can see that in the background, or there's a link in the comments box underneath this video on YouTube, which you can click, go there, sign up to Telegram, and I'll send you all the details. And you'll also get the daily quotes that I send out. So an example of that earlier in the session, as well as some of the teachings, diagrams, etc. Well, all happening via Telegram. The daily lesson, a short breath break to help you practice the lesson throughout the day, as well as invitations to join these live calls on Zoom. So lifepool.com, sign up, and you'll be able to get all of that, and be invited to join these live sessions, as well as the Art of Letting Go Masterclass happening later this month. So thank you for watching or listening, and yeah, wishing you much love, peace, and joy. Namaste, which means the true self in me acknowledges and honors that same true Christ self in you. Peace.